Hey, welcome back to Finnegans Wake Part 5. Okay, so we talked about crazy and crying like crazy. More complex is a word like, I'm going to try to say this, Silenetuto Slavzend Latin sound script. That's all one word. That combines Celtic, Hellenic, Teutonic, Slavic, Zend, Latin, and Sanskrit, all together in one word. A word that wraps dreams and music together, and Joyce believed the wake to be more than anything musical, is morphomelosophopancreates, or creates. Here's my translation, his translation. A wise, the Greek sophos, S-O-P-H-O-S, overpowering, Greek pancrates, P-A-N-K-R-A-T-E-S, dream, Greek god of dreams, Morpheus, that shape or structure, Greek morph, M-O-R-P-H-E, is melodious or musical, Greek melos. Come to think of it, that's quite a compact description of Finnegans Wake. Is a wise, overpowering dream that shape or structure is melodious or musical. Okay, so this book is supposed to sound like a song, like a melody. And as I read it, hopefully that sense of sound will come across. I think Joyce and this author would both agree that reading it aloud is a good idea. In fact, he goes on to say that here in a minute. But words like those above are nothing compared with the Wake's 100-lettered thunder words, such as the one on the first page that mixes words for thunder in a multitude of tongues. All right, I'm going to try to say this. Wish me luck. Baba bada lagara kata kamani aran kon bron toneran tuan thun trovar hauan skan tuhu hur denen thurnuk. That's pretty close to what it says, I think. I think that's going to be Elon Musk's next son, his name. With words like this at the book's beginning, first page, it's no wonder readers find themselves over their heads and struggling for shore, going under before reaching the second page of the book. So most people, probably upwards of 95% of people who pick up Finnegans Wake and start trying to read it don't even get past the first page before they're like, this is just unreadable. How Joyce wrote the Wake is simply a greatly expanded version of what is suggested in Through the Looking Glass, where Humpty Dumpty recites, you'll probably recognize this, "'Twas brillig and the slithy toves," goes on to say, "did gyre and gimble in the wabe," and you may know even more than that. And he explains slithy means both lithe and slimy. You see, it's like a portmanteau. There are two meanings packed up into one word. So a lot of James Joyce's words throughout Finnegans Wake are portmanteaus. They're taking several words and putting together into one word, not just English words. When Alice asks if words can be made to do so many things, Humpty replies that it's simply a matter of who is to be master. It's obvious that Joyce is the master, but he often packs so many meanings into his words that, like getting that fluffy hotel bath towel into a suitcase, the fastening of the portmanteau becomes a problem. But Humpty also tells Alice that when he uses a word, it means exactly what I choose it to mean, neither more nor less. That's what Humpty tells Alice. Yet the exact opposite applies to Finnegans Wake, where Joyce meant the meanings and associations to ripple almost infinitely as from a planet tossed into a universal pool. So he wants these meanings to just keep reverberating forever. In fact, we'll go on to see here in a second that he wants you to read your own meanings into the book as you're reading it. This new way of writing makes us feel as though we are circumvalled by obscuritads, or in words you might more understand, we're surrounded by veils of obscurity in the dreama, or the dream and drama of the Wake, that states the war is in words and the wood is the world. The war is in words and the wood is the world. So just as the forest often can't be seen for the trees, with Finnegans Wake the story often can't be read for the words. And it might not be too difficult if Joyce limited his creations to only two meanings like Humpty, slithe, and slithy, twas Billig and the slithy, both lithe and slimy, right? Those two words, he limited himself to putting two words together. But Joyce tells us that every word will be bound over to carry 3 and 10 toptypical readings. Toptypical. If it's true that a picture is worth 1,000 words, then the Wake has words worth 1,000 pictures. If the words don't get you, then the accretion can. Another how in how Finnegans Wake was written is Joyce's layering of meanings, like making a literary baklava. He piled meaning upon meaning, motif upon motif, theme upon theme, making the reading akin to an archaeological excavation. Looking at drafts of early sections of the Wake, the language is relatively simple and understandable. It almost makes you wish we could go back and read that, right? But as time passed, these sections became longer and longer and more complex. Joyce enjoyed working with others in adding obscurity to his manuscript. As the book says of itself, it has acquired accretions of tertious matter. As an example, the Wake's first draft ending was 2.5 pages that grew to 10 over time. This accretive process was aided by Joyce's collection of quotes from various and sundry sources that he wrote down in 66 notebooks of over 14,000 pages. He mined these books for material, weaving them into the fabric of the Wake, which has led to the suggestion that Finnegans Wake was not so much written as it was constructed. For critics who suggested that Joyce was jesting with readers, writing that the Wake was nothing more than a gigantic joke, jest a gibberweek's joke, or the hoax that joke built, the notebooks testify to the enormous labor that he put into it. So it is something of a joke. It's supposed to be funny, but it's also a great and well-constructed, monster. In fact, Joyce includes his readers as participants in the process of not only discovering meanings in the text, but also of creating new meanings, allusions, and associations. He meant for the Wake to be a volume of expanding thoughts and increasing complexities. This makes it the most democratic work in literature, for each reader comes to it with a unique knowledge base and individual insights. What flies by my eyes may suggest an entirely new concept to yours, and the interrelationships appear to be limitless. Just as it will change you, you will change it. Like bathing in a river, you cannot read the same Finnegans Wake twice. And I'd be impressed if you read Finnegans Wake more than once, or if you read it at all. Don't worry about reading too much into the Wake. That's impossible. We miss more than we can ever imagine. When a friend decried some of the meanings readers were discovering in his work, Joyce's response was, "Who's to say they're wrong?" The Wake tells us you are absolutely wrought, or absolutely right and wrong. So since the Wake is about everything, all that is required is for a reader to be fluent in most of the world's languages, knowledgeable about the entire world's history, religions, literature, music, art, geography, science, mathematics, etc., or laden with the loot of learning. So loot of learning, like where you go looting things that you learn about. This makes it evident that it takes more than a village to read Finnegans Wake. It takes the world. Other hows are art and music. The elaborately illuminated letters of the Book of Kells, the most beautiful Irish book ever, inspired Joyce's design with its layered decorations and abstract ornaments within and upon one another. The Wake's words and their multiple and at times elusive allusions mirror the artistic complexities of what Finnegans Wake calls our Book of Kills, Kills. As to the music, the Wake seeks to make sound sense and sense sound kin again. So make sound sense and sense sound kin again. Make them related to one another again. The sound of senses and the senses of sounds. For those who complained they couldn't understand his new work, Joyce's advice was to read it aloud. So that's what we're doing right here, right now, reading it aloud. I mean, we will be here in a minute. Right now we're discussing it. We're up to 10 minutes, so let me finish this paragraph and then I'll start a new video. And a recording of Joyce reading from the wake found at the Finnegans Wake Society of New York's website on the internet illustrates just how musical it is. So if you want to go to that website, found at the Finnegans Wake Society of New York's website. So just Google that and you can find a video of him reading it aloud. You can hear what it sounds like. Or maybe it's a recording, not a video. As an aura drama, it encourages us to become ear-sighted, to see with our ears, eyes of the darkness. In a sense, Joyce transformed words into music to more effectively express what words alone are unable to do. Okay, that's the end of that paragraph. So stopping the video, and I'll continue on the next.